Yeah, it's kind of funny the things we accept at face value that we don't bother to question. Take 9/11, the commission that for 18 months the president fought against hard, hard, hard. And when it came his turn to testify, it was not under oath and with Dick Cheney holding his hand. 3 buildings fell down that day. They tried to explain 2 of them. Did a pretty inadequate job of doing so, in my opinion. The 3rd building that fell down, that building number 7, they gave it one line and said something to the effect of, what we promulgate as the possible explanation has a very low probability of being the correct one. And then that's it. They went no further. They couldn't explain it, so they didn't bother even trying. What brought that 3rd building down? Were you even aware that a 3rd building collapsed like the first 2? Exactly the same way? But not really, not quite. The first 2 towers imploded from the top down, turning to dust as they went down. And physics would say they could have gone one of 2 ways. Either the weight of the building collapsed the next floor down, or hitting the next floor turned it to dust. They went with a magical 3rd option that not only did the weight of the upper floor cause the next floor to crumble, but there was enough energy inherent to also turn it into dust. So look, talk about having your cake and eating it too. There's a perfect definition of it. But that 3rd building collapsed from the bottom, turning to dust from the bottom. And they didn't even bother trying to explain why. The other point of contention I'll bring up tonight, America's love with the military. Not that they love to volunteer. That's been shown that very, very few people, what is it, 1% of our population is actually in the military. But rah, 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 support our troops. Boy, don't you say nothing bad about them. Hey, I was in the military. If I want to denigrate them, I got that right. I served some time. Unlike most of you. So if I feel the need to criticize, I earned the right to criticize. Unlawful orders. There's a Lieutenant Watata being court-martialed because he refused to deploy to Iraq. Now the reason he refused is because he believes it's an unlawful order, and yet the military is not letting him use that defense, even though the military gives you the right to use that defense. You're told in boot camp, you do not have to obey an unlawful order. But when he tried to bring that up before his court-martial, he was informed he could not use that as a defense. The government is trying to suppress any and all dissent, not just from you and I, but from within the ranks of the military. It's extremely important that they don't dissent. Otherwise, you have like what happened in Vietnam. Military people don't fool around. When they feel the need to dissent strong enough, if they don't have a legitimate avenue to do so, they resort to fragging. If you're not aware what that is, it comes from fragmentation grenades. It's pretty common in the military, at least they used to be. And if your squad commander, lieutenants usually, wanted to put you in a bad situation, drag you out in the woods without knowing what he was doing, well, a little fragmentation goes a long way to rectifying a situation. When the army turns against you, when the servicemen rebel, there's nothing they can do about it. So they have to go out of their way to stifle any dissent, so that every person that feels they're being called to do something unlawful, feels they're alone. Just like the government and the newspapers and the TV try to make us feel like we're alone and unsupported, that we're few and far between, so that you won't do anything. So you just quietly sit at home, stew in your anger, and not actually do anything. Truth is, there's actually more of us than there are of them. Now, I'm talking straight folk, run-of-the-mill people, average Joes. More of us are upset with the state of our government than are happy with it. The polls barely show that. So put that in your pipe and smoke it. Now, into the circle file.